Did you know that BDSM and kink are healthy outlets for aggression, imagination, and attention? Hi, and welcome to The Partition, home of Kinky Wellness. My name is Dana Slosser, and I'm a sexual wellness coach that dives deep into all things kinky. I'm here to show how BDSM and kink deserves a rightful spot within the sexual wellness conversation. So, let's talk about it. Hey, and welcome back. So today I actually want to talk a little bit about my sexual journey because it didn't necessarily start through the sexual expression lens. To be honest, I didn't really understand what sexual expression even was when I first got into BDSM and kink. I viewed BDSM more as an outlet to get my competitive side out. And by competitive side, I mean the side of me that competes with only me. I don't go into an impact scene wanting to be stronger or tougher than my partner. I go into a scene for myself so I can test my own limits and go on my own journey. The idea of going into an impact session and just thinking you want to be stronger than your partner, I don't think is the right mentality because you can't compare your skills and abilities and strengths to someone else in such an intimate manner. Like I said before, BDSM activities isn't a free-for-all or do whatever you want. Some may say that it's chaotic or that there's chaos. Yes, but that chaos is still very controlled and bounded by terms, conditions, limits, and boundaries and consent. Having a safe space to compare myself to only myself was the first place I began to make conscious improvements. Let me give you a little bit of history. I tried for a number of years to get in shape through the gym. But at the time, it just wasn't my thing. I didn't like going and I didn't have fun. And I must have gone to the most backwards gym. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of this place, but it's pretty popular here, but it's called Planet Fitness. And this was my gym. So the only days I ever went was when they were offering free pizza or free bagels in the morning, which I was like, wow, this is amazing. So really, I would just go for the free food. And whenever I worked it off, like honestly, guys, come on. I was just instantly adding it back on. Like this place even had Tootsie Rolls at the desk. Like it honestly, like it was weird. It's a gym, but it encourages you to stay fat at the same time. So really, they knew their demographic. And I guess that is a pretty sweet marketing tool at the end of the day. But yeah, I struggled with weight for a number of years. And so like I'd be small and then I'd be big and then I'd be small again and back up. And deep down inside, I just wanted to get the weight to stay off. I would say that I started learning endurance when I got into BDSM because the endurance that I was putting myself through felt very similar to the endurance that I was doing at the gym, except this time I actually genuinely liked doing it. And it was just so personal. There was no one there. I didn't have to go anywhere for it. I could just do it in my own home and like get that energy up. So BDSM actually gave me a massive encouragement to work on my endurance. Plus, you can structure BDSM scenes where you can get rewarded or punished. Now, I was raised around the time, but maybe just before, that everyone gets a participation trophy award. Now, I know there are mixed reviews on this. But personally, I believe taking away the meaning of first, second, and third place winners and replacing it with like a win-win situation where like every single kid is a winner doesn't really actually benefit anyone. It doesn't benefit the kid that worked really hard to get the first place. And it also doesn't benefit the kid that did nothing. You know, everyone's getting mixed messages because you've stripped the meaning of what it actually is to get first place. And I actually think it's okay to give attention to people who worked hard, you know, who fairly achieved that number on the spot, like who fairly achieved that number one spot, especially with children. And everything stems from when we're children. So children need to know that it's okay for other people to get attention if someone else achieves something or deserves that attention. Like it's their birthday, it's their day, it's their this. And I think taking away the meaning of first and second and third place represents taking away, you know, the motivation it takes to get there. And congratulating children for just showing up or participating doesn't provide, you know, an accurate representation of life. Life isn't fair. And if we keep pushing children into thinking that life is fair, then that shock that they receive when going out into the real world can be debilitating for some. And I think it sets people up for failure. And with the way that our depression rates are in Canada, I just don't think that we should be building or implementing things that sets you up for a negative pathway instead of positive. Like, there is a thing called tough love. Like, I know I say that all the time, but I am a big believer in tough love. And if you didn't place, that's okay. Did you at least have fun? People are not going to win at everything. So I don't believe that we should be rewarded for just showing up. But like I said, some children are taught like that, and those children turn into adults. So no wonder there's a rise of shocked people when the reality of life hits them. And before I go on some tirade about that whole thing, this is why it's important to incorporate some sort of pain into your life. Like, I like the competition. I like a little bit of pain in my life. I like being able to control it. I do feel like it is like working out or joining a sports team, or in my case, participating in ethical BDSM activities. It all gets me the same outcome. And at the time, when I first got into this, I didn't have a lot of platforms to celebrate personal growth. Now, I have been on a few baseball teams over the last few years, but when something happened on that team, it felt more like a team winning. Like, it wasn't an individual. It was more of a group celebration rather than a personal one. And I'm not a super big fan of having your workplace be the only platform to celebrate growth either. Like, I'm down to celebrate someone who thought of a very innovative idea for the company or some groundbreaking thing or helped out in some massive way. But I feel that most workplaces only celebrate you when you reach a milestone they already laid out for you. So I don't think which doesn't give your brain any real joy, because our brains are wired to want challenges. Our brains are designed that way. Humans used to fight for their life each and every day. I believe that the modern day era has actually brought so much simplicity into our life that it's becoming less of a convenience and actually more of a problem. Our brains are struggling with this boredom, this lack of doing something. I see it everywhere. I don't know, maybe that's just my opinion. Let me know in the comments, but I still feel like it's fundamentally, like the brain itself is still fundamentally built for a competitive life. So challenging life, overcoming things. So when nothing is challenging it, our emotional, mental, and physical health is negatively affected. Now, the hardest part about finding BDSM, is finding a partner. But once you have a partner and you both know the basics, or everyone involved knows the basics, you can schedule play sessions or impact sessions or any type of session that suits both of you. And BDSM can basically be done anywhere you and your partner are. I feel one of the challenges that I had when finding a partner was finding one that matched my endurance level. Because I have been in instances where the endurance level of my partner was was better than mine, but I've also been in situations where the endurance level was less than mine. And because everyone's strength is different and not everyone has control over their physical strength, even though they claim they do, how people use that control can be different. So what I consider a light tap might be going over the edge for someone else. And like I said, I've been in instances where I wasn't challenged enough, but also where the challenge was far too hard. It's not like I jumped into this and found my perfect match right off the bat. Like, it was a little bit like Mary-Go-Lox and the Three Bears. I had to test around and figure it out. But after a little bit, I got my groove. So that's when I really got into this. So that's why you have to go slow. Just like the gym. It's not like I'm going to go walk into the gym and the first thing I'm going to do is lift 200 pounds. Like, fuck that. It's just like any physical activity. You just got to start with your warm-ups and work up from there. Remember, BDSM is not supposed to hurt you in the wrong way. You're not supposed to get injuries where you're out of commission for weeks on end. That's not what we're aiming here for. But personally, practicing and maintaining my endurance through BDSM helped me maintain my endurance in other avenues of my life. I became better at exercising, but most importantly, it helped my mental state. So not only was I starting to burn extra calories, I also got the same sense of happiness when you work out, because I was going through something that required the same level of effort, so it resulted in the same feelings of success and achievement. So after I was doing some sort of scene, I would be in a better mood throughout the day because my body was still releasing endorphins from that little workout that I was doing, which, at the end of the day just was helping me sleep better. And I didn't want to compete at the gym. I might like wrestling at home, but I don't want to go out and actually wrestle at a studio. So it's not like I want to do this in a sports setting. I believe you can bring the arena into your bedroom and work with your partner so you each can build your own endurance and have a competitive space that you guys set the field for. So I feel like partners can make their own rules and games up, right? BDSM allows partners to create their own competitive space, their own arena, their own place for endurance. And remember, competitiveness doesn't have to be something extreme either. Not everything within BDSM and kink has to do with pain. So an example that I like to give is try tying your partner up with a blindfold and leaving them tied to a bed and see how long they can take before they're begging you to untie them. You can always try experimenting with mental competition, like how long can you sit at the bottom of your partner's feet for? How long can you stay blindfolded? Be creative. This is your jurisdiction, like what is within your comfort level. But remember, inside and outside the bedroom, the only person you should ever be competing with is yourself. I know it's lame, but it's not lame. It's a fact. And building creative competition into your daily routine is healthy for your brain. You don't have to go through BDSM if you don't want to, but you need to bring in some sort of competitiveness into something. Whether it's building a skill, like pick one skill that you just want to keep building on. I am competitive in nature. And I feel like when I got older, there was less places to put that unless I wanted to fork up the money and join a team. But this gave me a little bit more control over where I be competitive. Before I was putting my competitive energy into BDSM and kink, I was letting my competitive energy come out in situations and scenarios that I didn't need to come out. So it was really causing problems. I love my competitiveness, but I didn't have it under control. And I think that people should double check. Do you have your competitive side, that nature, that competitive nature to you? Do you have it in check? Are you utilizing it? On the flip side of that coin, there's people that don't use their competitive nature. They haven't tapped into it. They don't understand that they can tap into it. There are things in life that you can compete with yourself. You can compete with yourself on things, and it provides growth. But you let me know what you think. Do you think that we need a competitive outlet? Are you exercising your competitive self? Do you agree that sex can be used as a competitive outlet? Let me know in the comments. But as always, if you're new here or to the BDSM scene, check out my e-learning at www.thepartition.life, where I make it easy to learn the basics. Again, that's www.thepartition.life. Well, that's it for me. Thank you for listening, and as always, stay kinky. See you next week.